Capricorn, welcome to your weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for April 4th through the 10th of 2016. I'm Athen, and this is for Sidereal Astrology, very different from mainstream astrology. If you are new to the channel, be sure to check out the link because the signs are different. All right, so Capricorn, it is a new moon week on Thursday. We've got a new moon in your third house of your mind and of your communication. So now there's some new beginnings shaping up with your thoughts, with your insights, how you view life. Mostly in the practical everyday level with the mind. It's like the left side of the brain, but your mind, practical mind, as well as how you communicate and share with others, and maybe even how you read, how you write, how you communicate, right? How you synergize information. All right, so that's where the new beginnings are, and it's always a very receptive time to go within, reflect on these things, but especially because it's going to be in Pisces. And the sun is pretty close to the bottom of the chart too, making it a bit more receptive for you Capricorns. So these are good areas to focus on. I think you've already been focused on perhaps how your mind works, how you can have observation of the mind, which is very important for you Capricorns. You kind of do that naturally anyways with Pisces associated with that third house. And, maybe even doing some of that reading, writing, practical learning, practical understanding right now, which is a good source of energy for you with the sun at the moment. And then also things you could be enjoying right now in that sense. So with this new moon, it is going to be forming a few aspects, and it's those aspects that are the only aspects of the week. The sun is the only planet forming any aspects, and those are the ones associated with the new moon on Thursday. So leading towards that new moon on Thursday, we have the sun trining up to your ruler Saturn, then squaring up to Pluto on Wednesday, and then finishing up the week with that conjunction up to Uranus. So in terms of the Saturn and your ruler, you guys could be feeling quite expressive perhaps this early part of the week and around the new moon. There's a lot of support here with your ruler and the new moon, which is actually quite nice. And it's been specifically with this taking seriously your ideals and implementing your ideals in that slow and patient way this roughly past year off and on with Saturn in your 11th house. For some of you, maybe even cultivating your group life, community or friends. And this is a good source of motivation for you too right now, which is Mars in that 11th. But this is very supportive here. So you guys could be feeling that, when it comes to the patient, persistent approach, which comes very natural to you Capricorns, it's really homogenizing, it's really structuring this new moon. Now the new moon is going to be very transformative, and this is going to be specifically with this Pluto, who's been helping you transform your deep psyche, helping you release fears, unconscious habit patterns. Over many years has been this releasing. And the more open you are to non-attachment with these deep things, right, which it's an interesting paradox because this is the unconscious mind that is sometimes running the show or doing things that we may not be aware of. So, but there's an aspect of the ego involved here because that's what Pluto does. It's showing us where's the ego perhaps doing things in an unhealthy way. And this might be the unconscious ego, the unconscious self, doing things, creating things without your awareness. So through awareness, through living in the present moment, basically, which is the big lesson of the 12th house, how to be present, you become aware of what these deep fears might be, what these patterns might be, and what you can do to change them, because it's a very big week for that. Now, in terms of the changes with that, it's also changed too in terms of how you think. Right, which is this third house. It also changes with how you communicate. Again, there might be attachments to certain thoughts, to certain outcomes, to certain ways of communicating that the more non-attached you are, then they can naturally be released, because it's saying there might be some fears around that, creating attachment. Right, and so the more we're aware of those, we accept the fears, and then we let go of them. We allow them to go, because that's what they're trying to do, is be released. We're no longer holding on to them. Then this deep, powerful communication, this deep, powerful mind, which isn't yours, it's beyond the self, works through you, right? And this is also with the unconscious mind too. So very powerful. And with this new moon, it is going to be conjoining up to Uranus, suggesting a lot of freedom of you speaking your true mind, your true self. Being your true self in many ways with Uranus here. And this has been the big lesson for about the past roughly 6 or 7 years with Uranus in this third house, helping you be more individualistic with what you say, allowing yourself to think differently, unorthodox, come up with new and innovative ways of thinking. So there could be definitely some new insights this week for a lot of you, since this is all happening in your third house. But more than likely, it'll be coming through presence, right? It'll be coming through that acceptance and allowing to see things in a new way. So that's going to be the new moon. In a nutshell, Mercury is going to be shifting into your fourth house earlier in the week, Tuesday and Wednesday. So you'll probably notice that your mind might be shifting more towards home matters, family matters. It's a good area to work on. There's a lot of things you're going to be reflecting on later in the week here when Mercury goes retrograde. Later in the month when Mercury goes retrograde. So it's good to kind of go in here and experiment right now in terms of let the mind kind of work with the home, family stuff, maybe the health stuff. And just know that later it does go retrograde. So it's good to just be malleable, not make any big decisions around any of that stuff just yet. But allowing yourself to work with that energy nonetheless. So those are the two areas for you. The biggest emphasis I feel like is going to be on the mind, on the communication, new beginnings with that, new way of understanding of how to actualize and have a grounded, disciplined perspective when it comes to these things, which I think will come natural for you with that trine from your ruler. There's deep things happening, deep changes with Pluto, and then there's a lot of freedom, in fact, happening with this new way of you communicating, a new way of thinking or seeing things in a completely new light. All right, Capricorn, so have an excellent week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next week.